Welcome, welcome, welcome. I have a question for you. How good are you at burying your head in the sand? Do you do that? Bury your head in the sand? It's what a lot of people do, is being in denial. It's a sneaky thing, denial. We don't even know we're doing it sometimes. Of course, sometimes we are consciously in denial. So we lie to ourselves, basically. But most of the time, it's an unconscious process. We pretend that something is when it isn't, or it isn't when it is. And we can sometimes come to believe it. That's why it's so sneaky. It's an unconscious way that we have of deflecting from reality so that we don't have to face up to the truth of something. It's a sneaky thing. It's a way of protecting ourselves from fear, basically. But it can have devastating impact on our business when we're in denial. For example, if we refuse to listen to our customers' feedback, we lose the opportunity to improve our product or service. We could lose customers. When we are in denial about some regulatory or legal obligations, we can get found out, which can lead to serious consequences down the line. Maybe we're in denial about financial situation, burying our head in the sand, not opening our bills, whatever we're doing. No, it can be a nosedive to disaster for our business. Maybe we're in denial about something that's going on in our team and we're not being the strong leader and dealing with it. Instead, our team become demotivated and will leave when we're in denial about what's going on. Or maybe we're in denial about some new possibilities. Our product or our service is stale and we need to innovate, but we're in denial about that. We've seen this happen big time in the last couple of years in business. So being in denial can have devastating consequences for our business, but how do we spot it? There are some really easy ways to spot whether we're in denial, but it takes courage because, as I said, it's a sneaky thing. It's an unconscious way of protecting ourselves. So we have to have some self-awareness to recognize that we are being in denial. For example, see if you can spot any of these. Maybe you or somebody in your team or your family. A very common thing I hear people say is, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. Now, maybe you are too busy. Maybe you've got lots of things to do, exciting things. However, if you say you're too busy to do this thing, it's because you don't want to do it, because we will always find time to do things that we want to do. Have you noticed that? We'll always find time to do things we want to do. Remember, when you go on holiday, there's so much you can fit into that day before you go on holiday because it needs to get done. So, are you in denial about how you're using your time? Number two, there's 5. Number 2 is procrastination or putting stuff off. So, this is a form of denial when we actually get busy doing really trivial, unimportant things at the expense of the big, important thing because we don't want to do it. We're putting it off. Or we decide we're not going to do something we're not going to do X until Y. I'll do that when I've lost some weight. I'll do that when I'm happier. I'll do that whenever. This is a massive form of denial. You know, I hear it with my coaching business. Yeah, I'd love to start work with you, but can we start next year because blah, blah, blah. No, start now. See where you could be. Don't miss opportunities through denial. Another way of being in denial is coming up with reasons. It's quite similar to the putting stuff off, really. It's finding reasons why something didn't work or why it went wrong, instead of taking ownership. That's a form of denial. And having a closed mind is a big form of denial. Not being open to accepting new ideas. We've always done it this way. We've always done it this way. I've been in business 20 years. Don't you think I don't know? Yes, but maybe you've been in business 20 years and you've just been doing the same thing over and over and over for 20 years. And finally, I know. The 2 most dangerous words in the English language, I know. When we say I know, we need to ask ourselves, but am I actually doing it? Because there's a big difference between knowing something and actually applying that knowledge, doing the stuff. So how often do you catch yourself saying, I know? You will hear it now, of course. So these are some easy ways of spotting whether you're in denial. You could deny being in denial, of course, which is interesting. The thing about denial is it holds us back. It's the fear of something that we make excuses for. We pretend something is when it isn't, or it isn't when it is. And we are refusing to face up to the truth. Just think about the damage you could be doing to your business if you're in denial. So the way to face up to it is to embrace that fear. Just sit on the edge of your comfort zone and do something different every day and expand that comfort zone. And check your language, make sure you're not saying, I know, or coming up with reasons, or saying you're too busy. And if you need some help with this, please do get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. Bye for now.